What's going on, public subscribers? Thank you very much for subscribing to my regular McFarland's Corner, the Lake Fork Guide. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide, going to give you a public rundown, trying to give you some good information here. If you're coming out this next week, Lake Fork's on fire. The next probably 4 to 6 weeks will be really exciting here on Lake Fork as we really go underway, full-blown spawn. The lake is 6 feet low, but it's starting to come back. Huge storm last night, lots of rain. I believe the ground's starting to get wet, and the ponds, everybody in these areas, in these parts, has ponds. The ponds have to be full first before we really see the effects in the lake. And I've got a big 3-acre pond. It's almost peaked full. So April rains is when we get our rains. Very optimistic about filling the lake. Perfect timing for the spawn right here on Lake Fork. Again, Mike McFarland going to give you a public rundown for April 5th. It is Tuesday. I'm going to give you a little bit early rundown this week, and plan on probably coming back on Thursday again, changing it up from Wednesdays and Fridays. Give you a little bit more heads up. The Fridays has been uploading so late that I'm bumping this up a couple of days to make sure I get you the good information. So let's go to the board. Gotta get this right there. All right. Monday, 59-degree water temperature in the main lake, 64 degrees in the backwaters. 60 degrees today in the main lake, 64 degrees in the backwaters. 0 to 1 foot clarity, even with all the rain. Some of the backwaters that really flooded last night, with the heavy rains in the middle of the night, which changed the lake elevation by a couple of inches. Some of the backwaters are a little bit dirtier. So the 0 to 1, as always, means you may see 1 to 2 inches of visibility. If you're in the main lake, you're seeing at least 1 foot. If you're down south, it's a stretch to say much more than a foot, but there is some water down south, like maybe Cheney Creek area, the dam area, that probably has a little bit better visibility. But that's the board. Lake's in good shape. So from Monday to today, last night's rain brought the lake up 2.2 inches, somewhere in that range. Amazing, just that little bit of rain, heavy rain, but just for an hour or two. We get a good couple of days soaker, or even maybe a 5 or 6 inch deal. We're going to really see the lake change, okay? The lake's still sitting right about 6 foot 3 inches below full pool. But as I told you before, told you last week, I would make sure that I spoke to SRA, Sabine River Authority, before I told you any information. That way I heard it from the horse's mouth. You can go to their website, Sabine River Authority, and you can see the press release that they have lifted the cap of the elevation 397. The elevation 397 was the 6 foot below pool cap that they had put on until they finished the work on the dam. It has been lifted. Don't listen to the rumors. Don't listen to all the junk that you seem to hear. It has been lifted, and they will allow water to begin filling the lake. It's just up to Mother Nature, as I said in the last rundown. All right, so fishing, man, the fishing's on fire. It really is on fire, and you can really catch them a lot of different ways. Some of the biggest fish are still main lake oriented, main lake points, main lake shell beds, main lake reefs. They are shallow. They are eating baits like swim baits, crank baits. I even saw a guy talking about some top water bite already. When you get that water parameter in the 60, 64 degrees, that's a bass's premium temperature. 69, 70 degrees is one of their most desired temperatures when the bass is the most active time of the year. They'll eat more later in the summer because their metabolism is higher with the hotter water, but the bass's most preferred and most active zone is anywhere from the 60 to 75 degrees. If you don't believe it, give it a Google. You'll see that the Texas biologists have made many statements that is the most active window, water temperature wise, for the bass. Okay, So we're in that window right now where they can be caught a lot of ways. Even spinner baits, chatter baits, those are good search baits. Once you get in an area and you're catching some fish, this time of year, man, they're together. I'm also seeing signs, believe it or not, of shad spawn already. We are late in the season, being via water temperatures. We should be warmer than we are. But I literally am beginning to see the first signs of shad spawn. So break out those underspins, break out some of those smaller baits if you're around the thread fin shad, break out the big baits if you're around the gizzard shad, okay? That outlook, the weather outlook, man, tomorrow, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, it looks pretty good temperature-wise. 40, 68 degrees is your low of 40, low of 68 on Thursday, low of 38, high of 67 Friday, 57 and 77. You can kind of see that we're still having this, what I used to call, or what I not used to call, what I was calling back in winter, the Texas two-step. It's not going to affect the water temperature that much, as there's nothing realistically, even in Texas, sometimes around April, Easter, we can still have snow. It's usually a one-day type thing. A cold front can come through here. It's just not a real big effect. It doesn't have a real big effect on the fishing. Maybe a 1 or 2 day swing and they come right back. These fish have moved in. When they moved in, they don't move back out. The females are gorging. Man, the last few days, McFarland fishing have hammered the Lake Fork specials. Meaning, a Lake Fork special is a 3 to 5 pound bass. Anything under 3 pounds, I call a cookie cutter, which is really a quality bass in many fisheries. In Lake Fork, 0 to 3 pounds is a dime a dozen. They're little cookie cutters. 3 to 5 pounders, 3 to 5, maybe even 6 pounders, Lake Fork specials. You start getting the 6, 7s, 8s, and 9s, I call those big ones. You get anything above a 9, a giant, a double digit, and or a teenager. Those are the fish that you come here for. Lake Fork's well known for many, many giant bass over all the years. In fact, 54 of the top 75 Texas biggest bass have come from Lake Fork. We call Lake Fork the Goat Lake. You know why we call it the Goat Lake? Right now it probably needs a new nickname. The Goat Lake means the greatest of all times. It doesn't mean that it has to fish that way all the time, but it's the greatest of all times because of how many big fish it's produced over all the years. It should be called Grandmother Goat Lake because all these other lakes, including O.H. Ivy, which is unbelievable this last few years with unbelievable statistics of Sherlunker bass, undeniable, putting out more Sherlunker bass than any other lake in Texas. But guess where those bass came from? They came from the Sherlunker program and Grandmother Fork. This is where it all started. Lake Fork is the capita of bass fishing in the nation, and she's still, in my heart, 100%, the Goat Lake. If you'd been on the boat yesterday with myself, the clients, and Brooke, you would undeniably call it the Goat Lake. Smashing the Lake Fork specials. Today, man, I had Jason, his good friend, forgetting his name right now. It's really, really cool name too, and I'm sorry, I'm really, really tired. I don't remember his name, but Bentley today couldn't catch him early on the swim bait, the line through swim bait, and ended up smashing him in the afternoon with the jig. So it was a really fun day to see Jason catch all those big fish in the morning on the swim bait, and I'm giving you up some information here, and the jig bite come around for Bentley in the afternoon. Thank you, Brooke. I really appreciate that. But anyway, so fishing's on fire on Fork. Don't worry so much about being unsafe and hitting stumps with your boat. The buoy lanes are really good to follow. If you take your time and you don't run fast, you'll be just fine. Get the Lake Fork Super Trails from Lake Fork Marina Store, Lake Fork Marina Motel Store. You can find the Lake Fork Super Trails for your Lowrance and Humminbird units, both Helix and Solix. Garmin is almost finished. We have really had a lot of issues technically, and Garmin themselves are helping us get that done. So don't be afraid to come to Lake Fork. It's on fire. If you are a little timid about Lake Fork, if you live in the area and you want some other things, come on down here. Go to Lake Holbrook. They're on beds at Lake Holbrook. clear water, you can see them really good. Go to Lake Athens. Lake Athens is right by the Texas Parks and Wildlife Fish Hatchery. You can enjoy the fish hatchery at Lake Athens. They're on beds. Nothing to hit in Lake Athens. Simple lake to go fish. Gorgeous, gorgeous fishery. In fact, Jimmy Houston used to live on Lake Athens. So, guys, I'm trying to make sure that the public report gives you something decent, gives you something valuable. I'm grateful for you following me. Big time spawning fish in the backwaters. Texas rigs, creature baits, Senkos, wacky worms. Come on out to Fork, you're going to catch some fish. One more thing. If you're really just want to come on a vacation, I have a lot of open dates in May, June, and July that we haven't quite filled yet. Excellent time for post-spawn fish, topwater bite during May, offshore bite during June and July. I would love to get any one of you out here and show you what Lake Fork's all about after the spawn. So this is a personal invite to come fish with me, Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork guide, McFarland Fishing. And here's a little secret coming your way. I know you all know about Brooke. You've been seeing her catch fish. She's been running around on the lake with me in her own boat, learning those guide lanes, making sure she feels comfortable. And most likely by May, we're going to offer up just a few special trips a month. Not a whole lot, but just a few special trips. You can fish with Brooke. So private message me if you're interested in any of that. Love to take you fishing. McFarland Fishing, May, June, and July. We have some openings. All right, public guys, man, the subscribing keeps growing. I really appreciate you. Give me the thumbs up if you're enjoying it. Comment below if you really have anything good to say or not. I'd love to see either way. If you're enjoying this, definitely give us that thumbs up. And consider subscribing to the members only channel. Again, not to be redundant, I'm trying to give you some pretty good information in this public, but I want to drive you to my members only, where I spill my guts. I tell you exactly what I'm doing, and I include what we call the rule of three, or the rule of thirds. The rule of thirds breaks things down into thirds, both the body of the lake and the creek's arms and fingers. And I give up those numbers through the members channel only that gets you in the right place to catch more fish. Guaranteed. It's also something that you can use at other lakes around here. I've learned this from members that are telling me so. It's not just a Lake Fork thing. It's a local thing. So rule of three, if you want to know what that is, and you want to know more about how myself or Brooke are catching all these big fish, and the clients as well, subscribe to the members only channel. Thank you again. I'm Mike McFarland, the Lake Fork Guide.